We all want lasting love and to be able to give and receive love and to build healthy relationships with others. Yet, there's often a lot of confusion and pain to get there. And the most challenging can be to truly love ourselves. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if there were certain guidelines that could ease your journey and help you navigate the challenges that come up? Today, we're talking about understanding your patterns. And another name for this is attachment styles. There are 4 styles, and though these styles can and do change in life, it's a major clue to how we behave and how we give and receive love today. So I found it fascinating to learn about my style and to use this guide to figure out my husband's style, also my kids. It really helps you know people in a deeper way, and it gives you more freedom to chart your best course. The categories of the attachment style are called secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful avoidant. And I will tell you about each one so you can see which one or more you resonate with the most. Then I'll give you ways and tips to navigate through in order to create the life you want and deserve. Okay, let's jump in. The 4 attachment styles, which one sounds most like you? These categories are kind of pretty broad and might not perfectly describe your emotions and patterns, but you may have one style with your parents, one style with your partner, a different style when you're with people you barely know. But these styles can and do change with time. But the main idea is to move towards a secure attachment style. And I'll tell you all about that. For now, be like a detective and see which aspects speak to you the most. I'm Randy Taryn, founder of Project Happiness, and we talk about becoming happier as we grow, getting stronger from the inside out, and how to create a life you love at any stage. If you haven't already, do subscribe so you don't miss a topic that would give you energy, science-backed tools, and maybe a brighter perspective. And please like or share, especially with friends who could use this information too. Okay, secure attachments. This is thought to come from receiving what's called the 4 S's as a child: feeling seen, feeling safe, feeling soothed, and feeling secure. In adults, it shows up as being comfortable in your own skin. And in relationships, it's being able to experience both intimacy and autonomy. You can give and receive love. You can get very close to someone, yet keep your values. No one is forcing you to something you disagree with. You have a positive view of yourself and your relationships. You feel confident and connected. You look for healthy long-term relationships with loving partners and to be there for each other. You know, people you can grow together with and who can give and receive love. And you will recognize them because they have authenticity and empathy. And this is the really biggest clue. It's because they strive to see the best in people. Second style, anxious, or sometimes called ambivalent attachment. Those with an anxious attachment style often had caregivers when they were young that were just not attuned to their needs. So they're feeling anxious about abandonment and rejection. And many will overgive of themselves so that they feel loved. They need to have someone love them in order to feel loved. But there's an unconscious lower self esteem at play also. So even if people treat you as valuable, it's sometimes hard to take it in. You might look to others for validation, but invalidate your own feelings and emotions. Like sometimes I'm feeling like I'm too much or I'm not enough, which makes you work harder to earn that external love that you crave. Let's talk about the next one, avoidant attachment. This attachment style can stem from growing up with people who were emotionally unavailable. So now it's harder to trust others or even express your needs. You might prefer to avoid emotional or social interactions, and it can come off sometimes as aloof. Basically, can't trust people. You might get overwhelmed and block out emotions in order to protect yourself. You want to maintain your independence and not lose your freedom. It's really important to you. Emotional intimacy, vulnerability, and commitment are a challenge because there's a bit of shame due to a core fear of being deficient. And it's harder to put efforts into relationships, and it feels safer not to expect too much from them. The experience of love can feel rare and fleeting, and it's harder to take in the love around you as there's an underlying fear that if someone gets too close, they won't like who I am. So you tell yourself that you're independent, and in many ways you are, and you don't need others. But the dilemma is that to receive love means that you need it in the first place. And that can be a scary thought. The fourth style is fearful avoidant, sometimes called disorganized attachment. So this style is all about an inner conflict, which shows up as sometimes you want to get close to others and sometimes you'll push them away. This is often related to some childhood trauma, neglect, or even abuse. And it's harder to regulate your emotions. Being vulnerable emotionally is not your comfort zone. You really want to have a close relationship and intimacy, but at the core, feel somewhat unlovable. And that creates a block. And there's a suspicion of others and a push-pull dynamic that makes it hard to trust in a relationship. So you may still be wondering, this is all interesting, but I don't know my attachment style still. So I'm linking to a quiz so you can have a chance to explore it. And the information will be below. Tips now and best practices for each style. So here are some tips for a secure attachment style. You can give and receive love. You want to do that and do more of it and take it in. That's really important. Take it in. Choose like-minded people to spend time with. No drama is the best, right? Choose people that mirror your values and contentment. Be open and curious also about new ways to expand. Growth and novelty are important. You always want to keep growing. Let's do tips for an anxious attachment style. Choose people with qualities that you need instead of those you are drawn to. And this is a little counterintuitive, but it will make sense as we go forward. So here's an example. You may have a friend who's always dating the guys that treat her badly and who are never there for her. And nothing you can do or say will change that pattern. You know, it's interesting that an anxious attachment style is often attracted to an avoidant type. And the reason is that they're replaying some childhood dynamic that is familiar. And in being familiar, even if it's not the best for them, it's comforting in some way. But if you have the anxious style of attachment, for a lasting relationship, you want to feel more at ease. So in new relationships, I would tell my friend to look for qualities that soothe her rather than activate her. She might not listen. She may not be open to it, but there is science behind this. Psychiatrist, neuroscientist, and director of the Secure Lab at Columbia University, Dr. Amir Levine, author of the book Attached, has created this acronym for certain qualities an anxious style person should look for in partners. And it's spelled CARP, C-A-R-R-P. That's consistency, availability, reliability, responsiveness, and predictability. And my friend might say, oh, that's so boring. I'm not attracted to that. But that is the type of relationship that will allow her to feel more secure and move into that secure attachment style. So I would tell her, give it a chance, right? Now, challenge negative thoughts. That's another tip. Learn to recognize if fears of abandonment are real and replace those thoughts with more realistic ones. Nurture self-sufficiency. Don't make your partner your whole world. Keep up with old friends and cultivate new interests, new hobbies, new friendships outside the relationship. Make your world bigger. Also, balance closeness with personal space. Both you and your partner need both. And adopt rituals. This is from clinical psychologist Coda Daring, who recommends rituals of separation. Interesting, where both partners agreed that, say, before they go out for the day, they give each other a little kiss. They'll say, I'll see you tonight as they go out the door. They send a text, possibly during the day, that they're thinking of each other. Whatever it is, they make a conscious effort to acknowledge that they're leaving and also that they'll be back. And this can help a person with an anxious attachment style to feel confident that their partner will not abandon them. Now, let's move on to tips for an avoidance style. This is important to know and regulate your feelings. So, for this style, it helps to regulate your emotions by reconnecting with your feelings through the body's cues. So, ask, do I feel a headache, a stomach ache, brain fog, whatever it is, and ask what these feelings represent in, the sensation that I feel in my body. So, this is a somatic approach, and you can look at this feelings, emotions wheel, which really, really helps. It gives the nuances and all the various varieties of, let's say, anger or fear or sadness, so you can identify what exactly is going on. So instead of suppressing or minimizing emotions, it's best to acknowledge them, learn to identify, label, and experience them, and that it's safe to explore this. Another tip is to do anything expressive, journal, make art, play music. And if you are with an avoidant type, for them to feel safe, it's better if you move at their speed. Like if you see that they're agitated, you can say, yeah, it's okay, we'll talk later. It's important to be non-judgmental. Another tip is setting boundaries in order to build trust gradually. So, this is important for every relationship style, but if you are avoidant and fear that others will disappoint you or that sharing too much about yourself quickly will make you want to pull back, then slow things down. Observe your own emotions and share them at your own pace. Let your partner know that you need time to open up, and you'll only be sharing what feels safer to you, and let them know that this is a gradual process. This is not too much to ask because it builds trust gradually. Also, observe and question. Notice when you're pulling back and ask yourself why the situation is triggering you. As you make these associations, you gain more awareness to understand your needs and when it feels safe to let others in. Inner child work is also recommended. Consider working with a therapist to reparent your inner child. That can be really helpful. Let's move on to tips for a fearful avoidance style. Trauma-informed therapy. If you have traumatic memories, think of working with a therapist specializing in EMDR, eye movement desensitizing and reprocessing, or CBT, trauma-focused behavioral therapy. Somatic practices are also great. They're about tuning into your body. Do you feel a pain, a stomach ache, tight shoulders, a migraine coming off? Ask what this feeling represents in the sensation that you're identifying in your body. And again, the wheel of emotions can give you clues. And what this does is it helps you have better self-awareness and define your emotions. Another thing is practice self-compassion. It's normal for people with fearful avoidant attachment styles to be very self-critical, that critic's mind, and think negatively about themselves. Instead, be gentle with yourself and practice talking to yourself as you would to a best friend. Also, learn to manage intense emotions. You can have 2 or 3 tools at the ready to change your state, elevate your energy. Breath work is very useful. Movement exercises are great. And there are even things like holding an ice cube that can help too. You will find what's best for you, but just have them there in case you want to use them. Then create a support circle of safe relationships. We're all influenced by our inner circle and support team. Choose wisely. So, conclusion, we all want to let in more love. And this is an invitation to use these attachment styles to know people better and help you look deeper into any changes that you want to make, because you deserve more love and happiness. So play with these and see how you can improve all of your relationships, especially the one that is the source of it all, the one with yourself. As always, take care of yourself, sending much love And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.